down right here at my leather chair and get a little bit of Greg Doucette going.
This time the program's about me.
Coach Greg, and in today's video, I'm following up with Bradley. Everyone loves this guy. He's very relatable, he's very honest, and we're following him on his weight loss journey. And so in this video, he describes, this is my daily workout routine. I've recently got below 500 pounds, I weigh 498, he used to weigh 540. He's been up and down the past, but his goal now, he wants to get hot to date curls to compete in a strongman competition and perhaps one day to do a flag. He's very happy with results, and he watched my video.
Also, got a video made about me by Coach Greg, and Greg Doucette himself, he's like the main guy. He's like, dude, that's awesome. I'm having a lot of fun.
He was nervous. What are people going to say? Are they going to criticize me for my weight? But lo and behold, as of right now, 12,000 likes on his pinned comment. Over 340 comments, all positive, encouraging him. Keep going, you can do it. And so this is what it's all about. And so in today's video, I'm going to go over his workout routine. I'm going to see, is it a great one? How could it improve? Can you follow this? And so not everyone can go to the gym. Not everyone can afford a gym membership or has the time, but everyone can work out from the comfort of their own home.
Good morning, Bean Crew. It is 7 a.m. here. Crack at dawn. Those are God's hours. The best hours to get going because nobody else is awake yet.
And so, in fact, Coach Greg is up 7 a.m. I was up at 7. Went to bed after 2. I got Sid Chessbra and Alex Mendoza here recording for 4 days. They traveled 26 hours to hang out, film with Coach Greg. And so, look for future videos with these guys. But no, at 7 a.m., you're not the only one up. It's dark out, yes, but a lot of people are actually getting up even earlier. But remember, you don't have to get up at 4:30 like The Rock to make it work. And regardless if it's morning, afternoon, or night, you just need to work out. The time, it doesn't matter. The Rock knows. It doesn't matter. Although he does wake up that early. But perhaps he wants to get up, get it out of the way before all the events he has to do for the rest of the day.
And get a little bit of Greg Doucette going.
This time the program's about me.
I fill up my cup with a little bit of pre-workout. Look, I got my favorite cups here. It's little beachy fern things.
And so he wakes up, watches Coach Greg, and if that doesn't amp you enough, well, he also uses pre-workout. And if you want a suggestion for pre-workout, I strongly suggest Harder Than Last Time pre-workout. We have pre-workout 2.0 and hardcore stim pre-workout. And if you don't want the stims, you can also use pre-pump. It has no stims in comparison. Hardcore, that's the strongest one. And so choose the one you need. And if you have no pre-workout, put on Coach Greg. I'll do my best to get you amped up to have a better workout than last time.
And once it all kicks in, it's off to my home gym.
And is this guy 7'4"? He says 6'4". Look at the size of this guy. The doorway, it's nothing. He's doing jumping jacks. He's close to the top of the ceiling. And he's not a manlet like Coach Greg, but in this video, guy looks 7'4". He's a giant.
So I start out every day with just a shit ton of calf raises and interior raises, and it's fantastic. Little demo with the calves here for you.
And so the ultimate size of your calves are predominantly genetic. But considering he weighs close to 500 pounds and has to walk around all day, he's getting continuous progressive overload. The calves are being forced to work harder than last time. And so as a result, they've gotten a lot bigger. And so perhaps his calves are his best body part. And so he begins his workout by doing calf raises. Now, ideally, if he could, he would do some cardio, perhaps 10 minutes to completely warm up the body. But listen, although it is ideal to perform a warm-up, not many actually do. For the most part, most people, they go to the gym, start lifting weights, and they don't do a warm-up whatsoever. I often will meet YouTubers, I ask, hey, what do you do for your warm-up? They say, I just go in and lift weights.
I don't warm up.
And so if you're pressed for time and you can't warm up, it's better to lift than to not warm up. But if you have the time to do both, I strongly encourage you to get in a proper warm-up. And so he quite literally says he goes until he can't do them anymore. He has a major burn. He says that's going to failure. And so what I do suggest is to not go to failure on your first set. You should be going easy, and in particular, if you're not properly warmed up, you shouldn't walk into a gym or a workout and go to failure on your first set. The first set should be about feeling the weight, the movement, getting warmed up, and later on, when you're properly warmed up, you can then train to failure. And if you're just getting back to the gym or you're a beginner, there's no need to train to failure. Save that for when you're an intermediate or perhaps an advanced lifter. Studies show that for the most part, training to within 3 reps of failure for most people is enough to stimulate muscle hypertrophy. And if you're a beginner or new lifter, you don't even need to go that hard. And so don't think just because you've committed to going to the gym that you have to train so hard. You just have to show up to go through the motions. Save training harder than last time for later. Start easy, and over time, if you're not sore, you can then work out harder.
Yeah, just walk around a little.
And after a set, he walks around a little. This allows the lactic acid to be diminished. And once his heart rate gets down a little lower, it feels good, he then repeats the exercise.
And those are the calf raises.
And what he's doing here is agonist antagonistic training. He's training his calves first, and after this, he's training the opposite side of the limb. And so what he's doing here is he's training the tibialis anterior. Those of you who go for a lot of walks running on hard pavement, sometimes you experience shin splints, and that is the muscle that you're feeling. And so he's raising up his toes, and this flexes the anterior tibialis muscle. Very often overlooked, but if you have had shin splints in the past, as I have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so a quick tip I would say is rather than doing 3 sets of calves first and then switching over to the front of the leg, why not go back and forth? Do the calf raise first, and after, with a shorter break, do the front anterior tibialis muscle. That would allow you to get more sets in fewer time and make your workout shorter. Also, because it's more of a circuit style of training, you're going to keep your heart rate more elevated. And a more elevated heart rate is working out your cardiovascular system and getting you in better shape than last time. Also, it's going to burn more calories. The more sets, exercises you do with the shorter amount of rest, the more calories you're going to burn. And so one thing people need to understand is lifting weights does not burn a lot of calories. And why? Well, because you're mostly resting. You do a set, perhaps 30 seconds, and you're resting 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes. In comparison, when you're doing cardio, for example, going for a walk, you're always moving. And so overall, the total number of calories, it's how much does your body weigh and how much does it have to move? And so one suggestion I would make is try to pause at the top. It's not a race. And so as you're lifting your feet up, try to lift it with more control and stop at the top of the movement. That is where it's at its hardest. Squeeze at the top and slowly lower your feet down. And so when doing any exercise, consider this. Try to lower the weight slower than you raise it. And so if it takes you 1 second to raise your feet up, try to lower it for 2 seconds. If you can do that, coupled with the pause, you get greater time under tension, more mind-muscle connection, as well as you're able to build more muscle than last time.
Next, what I do is usually about 120 jumping jacks.
Next up is 120 jump jacks, of which he has to take a break. It's too many to do consecutively. And so what he's essentially doing here is intermittent or HIIT cardio, depending on how hard he pushes it. And so, for example, you could do 40 jumping jacks, take a break, do another 40, take a break, and again, do the final 40. And so what he's doing here is primarily working out his quads, hamstrings, and glutes, also his calves, as well as the shoulders from lifting his hands in the air. Now, if you wanted to turn this into more of a cardiovascular event, not make it as hard, rather than doing full jumping jacks, I would suggest going 1 foot to the side, back to the center, and repeating to the opposite side. And so it's important to understand that any exercise can be modified. Jumping jacks, or when I was a physical education teacher, I called them jumping circles to be more inclusive. Why are we discriminating? What about jumping Jill? And so rather than that, hey, jumping circles. And so you all know for years I've been saying I treat everyone as a circle. We're all the same to me. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect. And not everyone has the athletic ability to do a jumping jack, jumping Jill, jumping circle. And so we modified it. You don't have to do a full jumping jack. And so if you can't do 120 full jumping circles, that is a lot. And so rather than that, we do one leg to the side, back together, and the other side. All it does is it allows the exercise to be a little bit easier so that you can maintain the same pace and get through an entirety of 120 jumping circles. And so trust me, I've done a lot of jumping circles over the years. I taught physical education 11 years. Little kids age 5 all the way up to kids in grade 12. And some of them had a very difficult time, not only with their body size, but also coordination. And so I've seen it all. Trust me, trying to teach a 4 or 5-year-old to do a lot of skills in physical education, especially when they haven't done so at home, it's hard, harder than last time. And so I got very good at simplifying the most complicated exercise. What you do is you adapt an exercise to meet the needs of the student or adult. And so with personal training or coaching programs, I'm able to modify programs to adapt to any individual's needs. And if you're interested in coaching plans, phone consults, don't forget code Greg 10% off. Click the link in the description. We offer coaching plans from just myself or me and my team. I do a combination of training and diet programs as well as supplements. And so choose the best program for you.
The importance of taking breaks.
And so you can either go by how many reps you're doing or even better to time it. If you're doing rep counts, sometimes people will take shortcuts. They'll say, I got 120 to do. That's a lot. I'm not going to jump out as far. But if you're going by a timer, perhaps you're doing 4 sets of 40 seconds. You simply look at the clock, jump for 40 seconds, and stop. Perhaps you do all your exercises for 30 seconds and rest for 30. And so every minute you do a different exercise. In 30 minutes, you've done 30 exercises. That is more than enough for the vast majority of people. And so you might be thinking, I don't got time. You don't have time not to do this. Health is paramount. Health is wealth. And so please, I urge you, try to get a fitness program that you love and keep doing it for the rest of your life. And so he's saying, be careful. Don't overtrain. Don't push yourself too far. If you're too sore the next day and you can't do it, well, you've gone too far. Start easy. Progressive overload means go harder than last time. And over time, you slowly will build up your endurance, your cardio, your strength, and be able to push yourself. And so at first, it's not going to be easy. And so stay within your means, progressive overload, and in time, you too can do it.
After a lot of jumping jacks like that, what I always need is to stretch out my calves nice and good before I go in to do a whole bunch of squats.
And so following this, he likes to get a good stretch. Perhaps he needs a break as he's going right into body weight squats. And the guy weighs 498 pounds. And consider he's weighing over 300 pounds more than I do. It would be like me doing sets with 300 pounds on my back. And so he used to do 60, but it said it hurt his knees. And so imagine this. You have 315 pounds on your back, and you're doing sets of 60. This guy, although not having any weight on the bar, is lifting close to 500 pounds for sets of 50. And so imagine the muscle development the guy has. Clearly, he's very strong, as that is a lot of weight. And my advice again for him, let's not worry about the reps. Let's take it slower. Control your body weight. Go slower on the way down and faster on the way up. And if you can, you may even pause in the bottom. That will dramatically increase glute activation and force your glutes to get bigger. Who doesn't want a round, juicy derriere? And watch your knees, your joints. Don't rush it. Take your time. Use picture-perfect technique. And over time, it's going to get easier. And in particular, once you lose the weight, you're getting leaner, your body weight's lighter. At that time, you could perhaps add a barbell to your back or use dumbbells. It's all about progressive overall. Choose the best way. And so rather than thinking, I got to get 50 reps and rushing through it, take your time, perhaps 15, 20 reps. That's all you need.
Really quite tight, so I have sort of...
And he's very adamant about getting in stretching. Many of us often overlook this. And listen, one thing I would advise is the best time to stretch is at the end of a workout. Once your body is completely warmed up, you're sweating, you've had a good workout, at that time, that is the best time to stretch. That is not only the best, it's also the safest and the time when you can stretch the most. If you try to stretch a cold muscle, you get up in the morning and start stretching before warming up, you won't be able to stretch nearly as far. And so I strongly suggest do your workout first, and at the end of it, at that point, you get in your stretching.
I'm gonna go down like this.
And so clearly the guy is losing weight. In this position, he says his stomach, his gut used to hit the floor, no longer. And so he's making changes, he's getting better. And that's what this is all about, improvement. And so something he could add, for example, would be a sumo deadlift. He uses the same stance, he's clearly flexible, and instead of doing a squat with his legs close together, he puts them wider. This would be a different exercise, and he wouldn't even need any weight. Wider stance, toes out, sumo deadlifts without holding any weight. And so what he'd be doing is lifting his body weight, and over time, as he loses weight, gets stronger, he could then lift the weight off the floor. And so for crunches, it's not about getting the head pulled forward. All too often, people put their hands behind their head and they push their head forward. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter!
The Rock knows it doesn't matter. When doing crunches, it's not how far your chin is moving forward, but how much of a contraction you're getting in your abdominals. And so rather than putting your arms behind your head or trying to touch the top of your knees, simply have your arms to the sides and lean forward. You contract your abs and your fingers move gradually forward, perhaps only a few inches, whatever is comfortable for you. And so you can just see the things he's able to do now in comparison to before, he knows, he remembers them. So he used to lay on his back. He was unable to sit up. And now with a bit of arm swing, the guy's sitting right up. And so please don't underestimate just how exciting it is to discover new things that you can do. I remember this all too well as a physical education teacher, teaching the kids, teaching them various things, forward rolls, backward rolls, circle rolls, even cartwheels, even taught some guys to do back tucks, no hands. And so it's truly remarkable the enjoyment you can get from learning to use your body to the fullest of its capabilities. And so please try your best to get better at something. Use your bodies, explore the world, enjoy it more than last time.
Next thing I do.
And so in fact, what he's doing right here is he's working the adductor muscles of the legs. When you're raising your legs together, the adductors, they're adding your muscles close together. The abductor muscles are on the outside of your legs. Think of it. You're being abducted by aliens. They're taking you away. And so when your legs go outwards, you're working the abductors. And when your legs come inwards, you're working the adductors. Some people call them innies and outies, or no, sir, yes, ma'am. Do they actually call them that? I don't know. But what I do know is avoid all eye contact with anyone doing these exercises. Avoid it.
That's my favourite part. I love to stare into someone's soul as I'm doing it.
Trust me, avoid all eye contact. Now, if he wanted to work the glute medius muscle, he could have bands around his legs, and as he presses outwards, he would be working the abductors as well as the glute medius. So that could be a great exercise he could do at home. But if he's trying to work the glutes in that position, he could easily do a glute raise, lift the glutes higher than last time, squeeze at the top, and slowly lower them down to the floor. Repeat until you feel a burn. That can work the glutes harder than last time. And in doing a plank, if you find it too difficult, place your arms closer. And if you find it too easy, place them further in front. The further your arms are in front, the harder it is on your core. And so you can progressive overload by placing your arms further and further in front as you get better. And I messaged him, said, is there anything else you're doing right now? He says, I try to do an additional 10 to 15 minutes of the elliptical every single day. There's a gym nearby. And so if he's driving by, he says, hey, I got 15 minutes. I'm going to go in and bang out a quick 15 minutes. He finds it hard to last longer than 10 or 15 minutes. Well, who doesn't? Well, I'm talking about something else. And if you're having a hard time getting the downstairs harder than last time, I suggest you get harder than last time. Literally, for your downstairs. I hope you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'm not explaining it any longer. And great news, I've been talking to Brentley. He's agreed to come down and visit. We're going to make videos together. And so looking forward to that. Stay tuned. We'll be doing workouts together. Can't wait to meet Brentley. Looking for harder than last time supplements, the cookbooks, the Circle Diet Book, My Life's Work, How to Lose Weight, Keep It Off, or any of the training books, please click the link in the description. Use code Greg, 10% off. Now's the time to do it. New year, new you, new body, except this time, lose the weight, keep it off for the rest of your life. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm, like the video if you liked it, watch the tube loops. Also follow me on Instagram, Greg Doucette IP Pro. And until next time, I am out.